contents. These are our objectives. We will discuss the anatomy of the orbital region, the eyelid, the lacrimal apparatus, the extraocular muscle, the one that controls our eyeball, the orbital cavity, the nerves of the orbit, and the ganglion and the eyeball, the anatomy of the eyeball. Okay? So first class, this is the skull. You have here the orbits. They are paired bony cavities. They are pyramidal in shape. The apex is at the back, and you have here the base in front. Okay, so these bony cavities called the orbit, they contain the eyeballs, their associated muscles, nerves, blood vessels, fat, including the lacrimal apparatus, which is located here at the anterolateral aspect of the roof of the orbit. So you have there your lacrimal gland. Okay, and in the middle part, you have the collecting portion of the lacrimal system. Okay, so this orbit, this orbital cavity, it is protected or guarded by your eyelids. Okay, so this is the eyelid class. You have to know the normal position of the eyelid. Okay, so the eyelid, you have here the upper and the lower eyelid. Of course, you notice that the upper eyelid, they are more movable compared to your lower lid. Kaya nga, when you blink, yung upper eyelid nyo yung pumipikit. Okay, they are more movable, they are larger compared to your lower lid. Okay, so they meet each other at the medial and the lateral canthus. Okay, so if you make a straight line there, you'll see that the medial canthus is higher compared to your, the lateral canthus rather is higher compared to your medial canthus. Mas mataas ito. Usually 2 millimeters. Sa mga Asian, like si Dr. Ko, mas higher yan, I guess, no? Hindi ko pa nakikita face-to-face eh. It can be as high as 5 millimeter in Asian. Okay, yung lateral canthus natin. So you have here the upper eyelid. It is surrounded, the upper and the lower lid, they are surrounded by rows of lashes, eyelashes, which is more numerous in the upper lid compared to the lower lid. Okay, so look at the normal position of the upper eyelid class. This is your cornea. This is your sclera. Okay, so the upper lid should cover or should rest just a little bit of the upper limbus of the cornea, approximately 1/6 of the cornea or 1.5 to 2 millimeters. Upper lid nyo, dapat nakukover pa niya yung upper limbus ng cornea. While the lower lid, look at the lower lid class, it should rest just inferior to the inferior limbus of the cornea. Okay, so yan yung normal position ng ating eyelids. Now, this space between the upper and the lower eyelid, that is called the interpalpebral fissure height. So what is the function of the eyelid? Of course, it protects the eye from external irritation. It interrupts the light that enters, the amount of light that enters the eye. Okay, and it distributes tears all over the globe. Okay, so yun yung mga function ng ating eyelid. Okay, so look class, as I've said, you have here numerous lashes in the upper lid compared to the lower lid. You have approximately 2 to 3 rows of eyelashes there. And look here, this is the lateral angle and this is the medial angle. Near the medial angle, these rows of eyelashes abruptly stop. Okay? Nawawala na yan. Nagsa-stop na yung eyelashes nyo. What you can see, class, is this elevation here. We call that the lacrimal papilla. Okay? The lacrimal papilla, and within the lacrimal papilla, you have there an opening, and that is, class, the lacrimal punctum. Okay? So these are, these structures, this is the beginning of the collecting portion of the tears. Okay, so the lacrimal papilla, the lacrimal punctum, you can find it in both upper and lower eyelids. Makikita niyo yan. So when you invert the lower lid niya, makikita niyo may opening yan. That is the start of the collecting portion. Okay, so dyan dumadaan yung tears natin. The lacrimal gland here produces the tears, and dyan siya nag-drain sa ating punctum. Dyan yung beginning ng collecting portion. Okay, so this is again the medial angle of the eye. You will see this fleshy elevation, reddish yellowish elevation that is called the caruncle, and lateral to the caruncle you have this fold. This is the plica semilunaris. Okay? Okay. So what are the layers of the eyelid, class? Of course, externally you can see the skin. The most superficial layer, class, is the skin, followed by the muscles. Okay, you have the muscles, okay, of the eyelid. Okay, you have the, of course, you have the orbicularis oculi muscle, that is the one that surrounds the orbit, and you have the eyelid retractors for the upper lid, that is the superior, the levator palpebrae superioris and the superior tarsal muscle, and the lower lid you have the muscles there, the inferior rectus and the inferior tarsal muscle. Okay, and of course after the muscle layer you have here the fibrous tissue, that is the orbital septum and the tarsal plate. Class, the tarsal plate, that is the one that gives tone to your eyelid. So pag pumikit kayo, yung matigas na yan, kung saan nagme-makeup yung mga girls, yan yung ating tarsal plate. Okay? So the orbital septum, that is the one that covers the eyeball. It separates the eyelid from the rest of the contents of the orbit. I'll show it to you later. And of course, the inner surface of the eyelid, that is the conjunctiva. When it covers the palpebra, the eyelid, that is called the palpebral conjunctiva. When it covers the sclera, that is called the bulbar conjunctiva. Okay, so same structures in the lower lid, but you have less prominent tarsus, okay, tarsal plate compared to the upper lid. And of course, the muscles there differ. You have the inferior rectus and the inferior tarsal muscle, okay? But you still have the orbicularis there, okay? So how about the glands? Okay, the glands of the eyelid, okay? So as I've said, your eyelid, they are surrounded by numerous eyelashes. So here, class, directly draining into an eyelash follicle, that is a sebaceous gland, and we call this the glands of Zeiss. Okay, that is again a sebaceous gland which directly opens into the eyelash follicle, and that is, class, the glands of Zeiss. Okay, the ciliary gland, or the glands of mole, which is a modified sweat glands, that opens separately between the adjacent eyelashes. So if you have here an eyelash, another eyelash, another eyelash, at the end you have here the glands of Zeiss. In between, you have here the glands of mole. Okay, and we also have this long modified sebaceous gland, class, and that is the tarsal gland, or the meibomian gland. Okay, so this one, class, is located behind the eyelash follicle. Okay, so yung ating eyelid, class, nasusurround siya ng mga glands. That is why if you have infection, lalo na sa mga bata, lalaro siya, they will play outside, then they will not wash their hands. Okay, what they'll do is they will scratch their eyes. Okay, so yung bacteria, yung dumi, pag nabarahan yan, that will cause inflammation. Okay, pag nabarahan yan, papasok yung dumi, magkakaroon ng inflammation. Okay, and we call that, if it is an acute inflammation, we call that hordeolum. Okay, hordeolum. That is a pimple-like, painful infection of the lids. Okay, so here, what do you think is the gland affected here in the hordeolum, class? Pag ganyan, nasa eyelid margin.
Gland of Zeiss po.
Yes, the glands of Zeiss. No, yan o makikita nyo. So, again, the glands of Zeiss directly opens into the eyelash follicle. Kaya nga siguro yung mga parents nyo before, sabi, i-decompress nyo yan, magtanggal lang kayo ng eyelash para ma-decompress, which is true naman. Kasi what we do nga is we incise that eh. Okay? Pero, syempre, if madumi yung pagkakagawa nyo, it might cause more infection. Why? Kasi syempre infected na yan. So kung madumi yung procedure, madumi yung gagawin nyo, it will infect the adjacent eyelashes, which can cause more inflammation, more infection. Okay? So better ipatingin nyo na. But in hordeolum, class, usually since it is inflamed, it is masakit, okay, it is infected, we usually give first antibiotic. It might be oral, it might be topical, depende sa type ng hordeolum, because we have external and internal hordeolum. Well, in this case, class, it is non-inflamed na. This is a chronic infection. Okay, this is not non-inflamed. This is class desialation. Okay, so that is usually the there's an accumulation of granulation tissue in the meibomian glands or the tarsal glands. Kaya you can see, as I've said, this is the tarsal plate. Okay, the meibomian or the tarsal glands, they are the long sweat glands in the tarsal plate. Okay. So yan, kaya inflamed yan. Kaya may mass siya dyan. Okay, so this is non-inflamed na. Ha? Hindi na siya, wala na siyang signs of inflammation. Just the mass. Usually yan, pupunta sa atin, sasabihin, Dok, may para akong mass dito. 2 months na, 3 months na, hindi nawawala. Okay? So pag ganyan, we usually treat it with warm compress first. We try to give warm compress as often as possible. Then pag hindi siya talaga nawala, we incise that. We call that the incision and curettage, in which we make an incision and we have this instrument that we get out the granulation tissue. Okay, pag sa inyo, mabilis lang yan gawin. Okay, so that is the difference between an hordeolum, which is an acute infection, and a achalation, which is a chronic infection. Okay, so nakuha class. Hindi naman ako masyado nagmamadali, kaya lang conscious ako sa time. Ilang araw na ako nag-extend kay Dr. Melanie. Okay, for the muscles of the orbit, of course, you have here the one that surrounds the orbital cavity, that is the orbicularis oculi muscle. Okay, the orbicularis oculi muscle that serves as the sphincter of the eyelids. Okay, so it is made up of striated muscle. The orbital portion is made up of striated muscle, concentric muscle that surrounds the orbital septum, as well as the palpebral fissure. You have here the palpebra. Okay, so the orbicularis oculi, you have the larger orbital and the smaller palpebral portion. Okay, so this is the orbital portion of the orbicularis, that is the one responsible for the forceful closure of the eyelids. Okay, while the palpebral, that is the one class that surrounds the tarsal plate and the orbital septum. Okay, the palpebral portion, you have here the preseptal and the pretarsal portion. Okay, so that one is for involuntary blinking of the eye. Okay, for the closure of the eyelid, since the orbicularis functions as closure of the eyelid, it is innervated by cranial nerve 7. Okay, just take note of the origin and the insertion. Okay, the one that retracts or elevate the upper eyelid, that is the levator palpebrae superioris muscle, or simply the levator palpebrae muscle. Okay, so as I've said earlier, the orbital cavity, it is pyramidal in shape. You have here the apex and this is the base. So the levator palpebrae class originates here at the apex of the orbital cavity, at the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. Okay, so from the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, it will move forward, it will broaden forward to insert here at the skin of the upper eyelid and the superior tarsal plate. When it contracts, of course, what it will do is it will elevate or retract our upper eyelid. Okay, kasi doon siya naka-insert sa skin ng upper eyelid as well as the tarsal plate. Okay, so for the levator palpebrae, it is innervated by the oculomotor nerve, which is cranial nerve 3. When I was still in residency, para matandaan ko siya, for closure of the eyelid, 7. For opening of the eyelid, 3. Okay, I don't know if it will help you. Okay, so those are the muscles of the upper eyelid. Okay, so here, class, this is a case of drooping of the eyelid. If you know the normal position of the eyelid, you will know which is the ptotic eye. Drooping of the eyelid, class, is known as ptosis. Okay, so this is the right, this is the left eye. So in this case, class, where's the ptotic eye? I've told you earlier what is the normal position of the lids. Okay, Which is the ptotic eye? Is it the right or the left eye?
Right po.
The right eye. Why? Because look class, the upper eyelid covers almost half of the cornea. As I've said, dapat nagre-rest lang ang upper eyelid. It only covers 1/6 of the cornea or around 1.5 to 2 millimeters of the cornea. So in this case, as you can see, it covers almost half. Okay? So that is ptotic eye. Okay? Dito, same din, the right eye. Okay, you can see the upper lid covers almost half of the cornea. Okay, so the position of the lids is very important because sometimes in thyroid diseases, exophthalmos sila, di ba? Yung malalaki yung nagpo-proptose yung eye nila. So you can see a lot of scleral show even in the upper eyelids. Okay? So this one. Okay. So what's the problem here? Of course, as you can see, the lower lid. As I've said earlier, it should cover or it should rest just inferior to the cornea. But what you see here, you have here an outward rotation of the lower lid. We call this ectropion. Usually, this is common in elderly. Okay? So, kasi naglalax na yung mga ligaments nila dyan. You also have the bulging of the muscles. Of course, your orbital septum also naglalax na siya when you grow older. Kaya nga, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga eye bags. That's why we remove that. Okay? Tinatanggal natin yung mga eye bags na yan. Those are made up of fats. Okay? You have 3 packets of fats in the lower lid. So we usually remove that. Okay? So this is called ectropion. Okay? Outward rotation of the eyelid. Of course, patients with ectropion, they are prone to foreign body. Okay? So yung mga napuwing o common yan because even if they close their eyes, nagkakaroon pa rin ng scleral show. Okay? Bukas pa rin or you can see pa rin part of the white of the eye. Because when you close, normally, when you close your eyes, alam nyo ba class na pag pinipikit nyo yung mata nyo, yung eyeball nyo nag-turn upward. Okay? So yun yung normal. Okay? Kaya pag yan, close niya yung eyes niya, meron pa ring part na puting na-expose. Kaya prone sila sa foreign body, sa keratitis. Okay, so this keratitis is abrasion of the cornea. Okay, this case naman class, anong problem here? This is outward rotation or the eyelid is turned outward. How about this one? What happened to the eyelid here?
Nakapasok.
Yes. So, the eyelids are folded inwards. Nagkaroon ng inward rotation. So, you can see, class, so, yung eyelashes niya, papasok siya. So, imagine, pag ganyan, even if you frequently close your eyes, diba? So, yan, yung ating eyelashes, tumatama siya sa ating cornea. That is very uncomfortable. Para siya parating may foreign body sensation. Also, we do surgery in this case. This is called class entropion, inward rotation of the eyelids. Okay, so ectropion, outward, entropion, inwards. Okay. Okay, this is the fibrous framework of the eyelid. That is the orbital septum. So this orbital septum again separates the eyelid from the rest of the contents of the orbit. Okay, so this orbital septum class, it is attached to the orbital margin and it is continuous with the periosteum of the bone. Okay, that is the covering of the bone. Okay, it thickens here at the medial and lateral angle to form the lateral and the medial canthal ligament. Okay, so pag nag-old tayo, pag tumatanda, yan, naglalax din yan. Kaya we usually have ectropion. Okay, and it also thickens here near the border, near the margin, and that forms the tarsus. Okay, that gives the framework or that gives the one that kung saan tayo nagme-makeup, yung mga girls, okay? That is the tarsus, okay? That gives tone to the eyelid. That is where also the levator palpebrae attaches to. Okay? Diyan nag-a-attach o nag-i-insert ang ating levator palpebrae in the tarsus of the upper lid. The lower lid, you don't have there the levator palpebrae, ha? And you can see that the tarsus of the lower lid, they are less prominent compared to the tarsus of the upper lid. Okay? Understand, class? Ha?
Yes
Naintindihan?
po.
Okay. And we also have this fibroelastic membrane known as the Tenon's capsule. Okay, so they envelope the eye from the optic nerve going to the ciliary muscles here near the white of the eye, the sclera. So that is the one that envelopes the posterior part of the orbit. Okay, so this one, the Tenon's capsule, it is not attached to the sclera. You have there the Tenon space. And you have here the orbital fats. Okay, that is just the fibroelastic membrane. So the eye can move. And lastly, for the layers of the eyelid, the innermost layer, that is a mucous membrane, we call this class the palpebra conjunctiva. The conjunctiva. If it is the inner layer of the eyelid, we call this the palpebral conjunctiva. If it is the one, it is continuous to cover the sclera, we call this the bulbar conjunctiva. The transition between the palpebral and the bulbar conjunctiva is known as the fornix. Okay? So, when you were younger, I don't know if you still play this game kasi kami, batang kali kami. What we do is we scare yung mga kalaro namin. We invert our upper eyelid. Tapos yung parang Dracula, yung monster, hala, yung gano'n. Ay, sorry. So, yung nakikita doon, yung glistening doon, yung translucent mucous membrane, that is the palpebra. Okay, palpebral conjunctiva. That is the conjunctiva. Even if you invert your lower lid, yung glistening na yan, that is the conjunctiva. Okay? So, yan. Okay, you have here, this depression here, near the lid margin, that is the subtarsal sulcus, that is usually where foreign body lodges. Okay, so when you examine the eye, usually andyan yung foreign body nakalagay sa subtarsal sulcus. Okay? Yung mga pasyente ko, parang, di ba dapat 9 o'clock pa kayo nagtatatawag ng doktor, hindi yung ganitong kaaga. Okay. So for the lacrimal apparatus, class, of course, you have here the collecting portion and the secretory portion. The secretory portion is located here at the anterolateral roof of the orbit, and that is the lacrimal gland. Okay, the lacrimal gland. You have a larger orbital and a smaller palpebral portion. Of course, the lacrimal gland, you know this, that it is innervated by the lacrimal or the salivary nucleus of the facial nerve. So when it produces tears, that is the one that produces tears, pag na-stimulate siya, what will happen to the tears? It will go to your medial angle because in there, as I've said, you have there the beginning of the collecting portion, which is the lacrimal punctum. Diba? The punctum. Okay, dyan siya dumadaan. The punctum, you have here at the lower and the upper lid. So even if there's obstruction in either upper or lower lid, the other punctum has a capacity to drain the tears. Okay, kaya nagde-drain pa rin yung tears nyo because there's also infection of the punctum. Minsan na-i-infect din yan. Okay, so this is how the tears drain. The flow of the tears. Of course, from the lacrimal gland, it will go to the medial portion. Okay, you have here the punctum, the lacrimal punctum. Okay, that is the opening. Okay, it is surrounded by an elevated tissue, as I've said earlier, the papilla. Okay, then it will continue to become the canaliculi. You have around 8 millimeters of canaliculi, upper and lower canaliculi, and they will meet each other at the lacrimal sac. So this is the lacrimal sac, common site of infection. This is infection, nasal lacrimal duct obstruction. Okay, so from there, the tears will go down to the nasolacrimal duct, or it will be transmitted to the nasolacrimal duct here, and it will terminate at the inferior meatus of the nose. Okay, inferior meatus of the nose. At the inferior meatus of the nose, it is guarded by the opening is guarded by a mucous membrane known as the lacrimal fold. Okay, the lacrimal fold prevents the air from being forced up into the duct. Okay, so yan. Kaya if you have excessive production of tears, umiyak kayo, nanood kayo ng Korean novela, nalungkot kayo, naiyak kayo, so anong nangyayari? Di ba parang sinisipon kayo? Kasi dito yung nagdi-drain din yung ating tears. Kaya parang pag may excessive tearing, yung iba syempre nag-overspill, yung iba naman parang sinisipon kayo. Okay? Kasi nga, it terminates at the inferior meatus of the nose. Okay? For the orbital bones class, of course, you have here, this is the orbit. You have here the frontal, the maxillary, the zygomatic, the greater and the lesser wing of the zygomatic bone, the sphenoid, and the ethmoid, which you can see here at the medial aspect. You have here the ethmoid and the lacrimal. Okay, so those are the bones of the orbit or surrounding the orbit. Okay, so the orbital margin, that is the base part of the bone, of the orbit. Okay, yan yung nagso-surround sa ating orbit. Yan yung mga superficial. Ayan, this is the orbital margin. So the superior orbital margin is from the frontal bone. This is the frontal bone. As you can see, it is interrupted, class, by the supraorbital notch in which your supraorbital vessels passes through. Okay, the lateral orbital margin consists of the zygomatic bone and the zygomatic process of the frontal bone, while the inferior is made up of the zygomatic bone and the maxilla, and the medial is the maxilla and part of the frontal bone. So those are the orbital margin. Okay, how about the one that encloses the orbit? We call this as the orbital walls. Okay, yung nag-e-enclose sa orbit natin, that is class the orbital walls. Okay, so for the roof of the orbital wall, you have, of course, the frontal and the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone. So take note, class, this is the orbital margin and you have the roof there, okay, of the orbit. So superior to the roof of the orbit, you have now, class, the brain. Okay, andyan na yung brain nyo. So if you have a fracture here, class, what will happen? That is very dangerous because CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, might leak. Okay, so yan, pag yung trauma, yung vehicular accident, so nagkakaroon ng fracture dyan. Okay, if there's a fracture dyan, we suspect agad CSF leak. Kasi sa taas niyan, that is the brain na. You have here the cerebrum na. Okay? So very dangerous pag dyan yung site ng fracture nyo. While the lateral wall, class, that is the thickest among the walls of the orbit. Okay? You have the zygomatic portion of the frontal bone, the orbital portion of the zygomatic bone, and the greater wing of the sphenoid bone. So if we need to access the orbit, if you have an orbital nerve tumor, okay, we need to access the orbit. That is where we pass through. Kasi wala kang tatamaan na structures eh. So ayan, wala kang tatamaan. Pag yan, binuksan mo, ang makikita mo na is the orbital contents. Okay, so that is where we gain access at the lateral wall. That is very thick. Alam niyo ba, meron pa kaming saw na ginagamit para lang ma-break yung ating lateral wall. While the medial wall, that is the thinnest part of the walls of the orbit, it is made up of the ethmoid, the sphenoid, the maxilla, and the lacrimal bone. Okay? So even if it is thin, it rarely fractures by itself because when you examine your skull, diba, after the medial wall, you have their sinuses that serves as a cushion. Okay, kaya rarely na-fracture yung ating medial wall. Okay, while the inferior wall, it is made up of the palatine, zygomatic, and the maxillary bone. This wall, the inferior wall, when you also examine the skull, there are no contents na here. Wala na siyang masyadong structures here sa baba. So that is the common site of fracture, the floor of the orbit. Diyan usually nagkakaroon ng fracture. If there's increase in pressure in the orbit, like you're talking about politics, naman it is not nice to talk about politics kasi nagkakaaway kayo. You have different opinions which you have to respect. Okay? So nag-away kayo, nagkapikunan kayo. What happens? Yung fist nyo, sinuntok nyo, tumama sa mata. Of course, your fist is larger than the orbital cavity. So where will the pressure go? Since this is very thick, hindi yan ang mabibreak. Ito naman, hindi rin dyan because you have the contents of the brain. Here, usually, you will have an orbital floor fracture. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so there's increase in orbital pressure due to the striking object, which is your fist, which is larger in diameter compared to your orbit. Okay, so nagkakaroon ng fracture dyan. Sometimes kasama rin yung medial wall. Laging magkasama yung dalawang yan kasi pareho siyang manipis. Halos laging magkasama yung medial and the orbital floor kasi pareho nga silang manipis. Okay? So that is what an orbital floor fracture looks like. Of course, you have here the sign of trauma. We have here hematoma. When you examine the patient will be able to look up kasi na-entrap yung muscle dyan, which is the inferior rectus. Later, you will know the muscles of the eyeball. Okay, so na-entrap siya so they won't be able to look up, nahihirapan sila. And sometimes in worst case scenario, talagang depressed yung eye niya. Okay, baksak talaga. Okay, that is orbital floor fracture. With the help of ENT, we usually plate that. Piniplate natin yan para ma-form uli yung kanyang orbit. Titanium plate, diba? Okay, for the apertures and notches of the orbit, you have here, as I've said, the margin, the superior margin, it is interrupted here by the supraorbital notch or foramen, in which the supraorbital branch of the frontal nerve and the supraorbital artery passes through. Okay, the supraorbital branch, that is the one that supplies your forehead, your upper eyelid, your scalp, and your frontal sinus. Okay, here at the floor, okay, at the maxilla, you also have an opening there, and that is the infraorbital foramen, in which dumadaan naman yung infraorbital neurovascular bundle. The nasolacrimal canal, of course, that is where your nasolacrimal duct passes through. Okay, that is again the collecting portion of the tears. Okay, so dyan natin makikita yung nasolacrimal duct. It is located here at the anterior part of the medial wall. Yan. Kaya if you have here a mass here, usually yan yung affected. Okay, you have an obstructed nasolacrimal duct. Okay. Nasolacrimal duct obstruction. Okay, infraorbital fissure that is located between the maxilla and the greater wing of the sphenoid bone. Okay, so these are the structures that passes through the infraorbital fissure. Okay, the maxillary nerve and the zygomatic branch, the inferior ophthalmic vein, and the sympathetic nerves. Okay, so just take note. Okay, there are two openings in the lateral wall, okay, which transmit the zygomatico-temporal nerve and the zygomatico-facial nerve. You have there the corresponding foramen, which is the zygomatico-temporal foramen and the zygomatico-facial foramen. Now here, situated above the olfactory groove, okay, that is the ethmoidal foramina, okay, which transmit. You have the anterior and the posterior ethmoidal foramina, which transmit its corresponding nerves. Okay? And here, okay, class, please listen. Okay. The superior orbital fissure that is located between the greater and the lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, that is the largest fissure of the orbit. You have several important structures that pass through the superior orbital fissure. Take note, class, ha, maraming dumadaan dyan. Important structures. Lahat naman ng structures na dumadaan sa foramen namin, sa foramen is important. But there are several structures here. Okay, you have the oculomotor nerve, the trochlear nerve, the trigeminal, the lacrimal and the frontal, and the nasociliary division of the trigeminal nerve, the abducent nerve, and the superior ophthalmic vein. So these structures passes through that opening, the superior orbital fissure. And there are some structure that passes within the origin of the four recti muscle. We call that the annulus of Zinn or the common tendinous ring. Okay? So here, merong mga structures na pumapasok within. Okay? This is the superior orbital fissure. You have here the origin of the four recti muscles. We call this the annulus of Zinn. Okay? So these structures that passes within the annulus of Zinn are the oculomotor nerve, the abducent, and the nasociliary nerve. Okay? Which is an branch of the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve. So this structure class passes within the annulus of Zinn as well as the optic nerve. Okay? And outside the annulus of Zinn, you have class the trochlear nerve, the trigeminal nerve, the frontal and lacrimal branches, and the ophthalmic veins. So what is the importance, class, of this picture? Bakit importanteng alam natin ito? Because if you have disease of the eye, like thyroid ophthalmopathy, okay, yung mga may thyroid disease, di ba you will see them proptosia or we call that exophthalmos, yung parang nakaluwa yung mata niya. Di ba parang mulat na mulat yung mata ng mga may thyroid disease? What happens there kasi? Bakit lumuluwa yung mata nila? Because usually, itong muscles na to na nagsusurround o yung ating extraocular muscles, they are usually swollen. Okay? Nag-i-inflame sila. Kaya, pag nag-inflame yan, anong nangyayari? Nagpo-proptose yung eyes kasi wala siyang pupuntahan. Pag nag-inflame yan, walang pupuntahan yung ating eyeball kundi forward. Okay? Kasi sumisikip yung contents ng loob. And of course, naiipit itong mga structures na to. That's why hindi nakakagalaw yung mata natin. Sometimes it causes blindness because your optic nerve is also affected. Nandyan yung ating optic nerve. Okay? So what we do sa mga may thyroid disease, of course, medical treatment is very important. Pag hindi nakuha ng medical treatment, we do orbitotomy. Dinidocompress natin yung contents ng orbit by doing lateral orbitotomy. Okay, yun yung pinadadaan dito sa lateral wall ng ating orbit. Okay? Clear ba tayo doon, class? Ha? Now, the optic canal, which is located at lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, of course, it transmits the optic nerve and the ophthalmic artery. Later, I will show you that the optic nerve, class, is pierced by the ophthalmic artery, the central retinal artery. Okay, for the muscles of the orbit, as I've said, you have here the origin of the four recti muscles, and we call this class the common tendinous ring or the annulus of Zinn. Okay, dyan siya nag-origin. Your superior rectus, your middle rectus, lateral rectus, and inferior rectus, they originate here at the apex, at the common tendinous ring, or we call this the annulus of Zinn, and it inserts, class, here at the sclera, doon sa puti ng mata natin. Okay, these measurements are not important for you, ha? Nakailagay lang yan, okay? So you have there, surrounding the sclera, the insertions of your recti muscles, the four recti muscles. Of course, you have here the superior rectus, the middle rectus, the inferior rectus, and the lateral rectus. So when the superior rectus contract, anong mangyayari? Of course, it will elevate the eye. Okay? So this is the superior rectus. When it contracts, when it shortens, of course, it will elevate the eye. If it is the inferior rectus, it will depress the eye. These are the secondary action of the inferior rectus. Okay? So it will major action, or the primary action is it will depress the eye. Okay? So middle rectus, of course, it will turn the eye inward, or we call this adduction. Okay? Adduction. And lateral rectus will move the eye outward. Okay? And we call this abduction. Okay? Abduction. Kinuha outward. Okay? Abduction. That is the action of the four recti muscles. If you still remember, among the four recti muscles, what is in they are all innervated by the oculomotor nerve except for the lateral rectus, which is innervated by the abducent nerve. If you still remember, diba? SO4, LR6. Okay, lateral rectus is innervated by the abducent nerve. Okay, now look at the inferior oblique muscle class. This is the only extraocular muscle that does not originate at the apex. Okay? Siya lang ang hindi nag-originate dito sa likod. Okay? It originates here. Dito. It originates here at the floor of the orbit lateral to the opening of the nasolacrimal canal. Okay? So if this is the medial wall, you have here the nasolacrimal canal, and at the floor of the orbit, you have here the origin of the inferior oblique muscle. Again, this is the only extraocular muscle that does not originate at the apex. Okay? Hindi siya galing sa likod ng mata. And its insertion, okay, so from the floor of the orbit, it will move near the lateral rectus muscle. Okay? So dito, behind the sclera behind the coronal equator, near the lateral rectus muscle. So when it moves or when it contracts, anong mangyayari? So you have here the origin at the floor of the orbit. This is the nasolacrimal canal, and it will insert here near the lateral rectus. So what will happen if it contracts? It will laterally rotate the eye. It will laterally rotate the eye. Okay? Of course, it will first elevate, then abduct, and laterally rotates the eye. Kaya yung action ng ating inferior oblique dito. Inferior oblique. Because it moves the eye laterally. Okay. While the superior oblique muscle, here class, it originates here at the apex pa rin, at the body of the sphenoid bone. Okay, so take note class, ha? So this one, the superior oblique, even if it originates at the apex, look at its course, okay? So it moves anteriorly, and here, near the medial wall, the roof at the medial side, you have here this tendon. Okay? So we call this the pulley or the trochlea. Trochlea nga tawag dyan, but trochlea ang tawag dyan. But there is a tendon there kung saan nag-i-insert or where your superior oblique muscle passes through to insert here. Okay? At the sclera. Okay? Near the superior rectus muscle. Okay? So from the back, from the apex, it would move medially, passes through this pulley, and insert here at the sclera near the superior oblique muscle. This is your superior oblique muscle. So what happens when it contracts? Okay? So from the back, pupunta siya dito. This is the pulley. Then it will insert here. So when it contracts, when it shortens, it will move the eye medially. Okay? It will depress the eye and move the eye medially. Magkakaroon ng medial rotation. Kaya ang end action ng superior oblique nyo dito sa baba. Okay? You get it, class? Yun lang naman yung mahirap intindihin, the superior and the inferior oblique muscles. So this is the action of the superior oblique. It will move the eye medially, while the inferior oblique, it will move the eye, elevate and move the eye upwards, laterally. Okay? So this is the end action of those extraocular muscles. So that is just a table showing you the origin, the insertion, the supply, and the action of the extraocular muscles. So here, we put this table for you to review. Okay? So madali lang kasi pag lateral gaze or look to the right, look to the left. Of course, if you want to look to the right, ano yung extraocular muscles? In the right eye, you have the lateral rectus. In the left eye, you have the medial rectus. So, ang ano lang naman dyan is yung downward gaze and upward gaze. So, just review this picture, ha? Naintindihan, class? May kausap pa ba ako?
Yes, po.
Yes po, Doc.
Okay. Sorry talaga, mahirap to intindihan. Ewan ko nga kung bakit oh my God, 8:51 na. Oh, hanggang 9 o'clock lang tayo. Strabismus, that is a condition in which the eyes are not properly aligned with each other. Okay, usually there is a lack of coordination between the extraocular muscle. Common yan sa mga bata. We usually correct strabismus by the time that they go to school. Kasi syempre, they will feel bad pag inaano siya, duling, banda, ganyan. So we usually correct that before going to school. Okay? So this one, what we do, class, we do the parang flashlight or pen light test. Okay? We ask the patient to look straight to us. O, tingin sa akin dito, mahal, bebe. Yan, o, may instrument ako dyan. Then, I do pen light. Pag yan, yung reflection ng light sa cornea is nasa gilid, palabas, that is esotropia. Papasok yung mata. Okay? Pag yan naman, this is exotropia. Okay? Makikita niyo yung reflection ng light dito. That is exotropia. You can do that. Madaling assessment sa mga batang bandag. Pag inano nyo, pag talagang pumapaling yung mata, makikita nyo yung reflection ng light. Okay? So this is esotropia, inward, exotropia, outward. So how do we correct that? Okay. So kaya 'di ba nagkakaroon ng ganyan because there's incoordination, like in this case, this is exotropia. So your medial rectus is weak and your lateral rectus is strong. Kaya siya na pupull outward. So what we do is we strengthen this. Kaya important yung measurements sa amin ng mga extraocular muscle. We usually strengthen this. Nilalagay namin siya sa position para straighten yung eye natin. And we resect this or we weaken the lateral rectus. Okay? So, correct pa ang mga strabismus, ha? May pag-asa pa yan. Kaya pag may nakita kayong ganyang patient, wag sila mawalan ng pag-asa. Kaya pang i-correct yan. Okay? Pag tumanda na, of course, mahihirapan na. Kasi hindi na na-develop yung eyes nila. Okay? So, for the nerves, of course, you have the optic nerve. Okay, so it passes through the optic canal and it pierces the sclera posteriorly. We call that the lamina cribrosa. That is the weakest part of the sclera, the lamina cribrosa. Diyan siya nag-pierce ang ating optic nerve. So when we do fundoscopy class, di ba, we see the optic nerve. Yan yung sinasabi nyo, yellow-orange optic nerve because again, it pierces the sclera posteriorly at the lamina cribrosa. Okay? Yan yung sinasabi. Yellow-orange optic nerve with distinctive border, cup-disc ratio, less than 0.5. This is the cup-disc ratio. Okay? And you have here the retinal arteries. Kasi nga, nag-pierce yung ating retinal artery, central retinal artery sa ating optic nerve. Kaya makikita nyo rin siya when you do fundoscopy. Okay, so this is the healthy optic nerve and this one, what do you notice here, class? Anong problem dito with the optic nerve with glaucoma? So when you see that, when you do fundoscopy, makita nyo yan, you will suspect talaga the patient having glaucoma because remember, you also have normal tension glaucoma. Okay, hindi siya masakit, pero when you look at the optic nerve, yan it is pale. Okay, cup-disc ratio is usually, this one is 0.8. Lumaki na because nag-swell na yung ating optic nerve. Okay, because of the increase in pressure, or there's a problem with the optic nerve, yan, nag-swell na siya, and there is, napupush niya yung vessel on the nasal side. There is nasalization of the fibers. Okay, how about this one, class? This is very important na ma-diagnose nyo o makita. Pag nakita nyo to, you'll have a proper diagnosis. So what happens here, class? Sige na, sagutin nyo ako. Yan lang, matutunan nyo ngayong araw na to, masaya na ako because that is very important when you practice medicine. Anong nakita nyo dyan? Class, section B. Sige na, wala na tayong oras. What happened to the optic nerve? Does it have a distinct border or blurred disc border?
Blurred disc border.
Blurred disc border. Very good. So this blurred disc border, class, this is called papil edema. Papil edema. What happens is the pressure or increase in pressure is usually at the intracranial, in the brain. Sabi ko nga, because of the increase in pressure here, napupush niya o nagbabulge yung optic nerve doon sa kanyang insertion sa sclera. Kaya makikita nyo siya when you do fundoscopy. You will have a blurred disc border. Hindi ako class nagbibiro. This is very important. We have a case here, parang 17 years old. Sabi ng mami, Dok, sobrang sakit naman ng ulo ng batang to. Umaga, tanghali, gabi, nagsusuka, ganyan. Okay, wala naman daw problema, sabi nung pedya, ganyan. E di we do fundoscopy. Nung nakita namin, blurred yung disc border. So pinasitis ka namin, so there's a tumor, pituitary tumor. Kaya nagkakaroon siya ng increase intracranial pressure. Kaya may vomiting siya, may headache siya, and again, napupush niya yung ating optic nerve, yung insertion ng optic nerve sa ating sclera. Kaya nagkakaroon siya ng blurred disc border. Tumataas yung pressure sa likod. Ha? So, during sa clinics, very important that you perform fundoscopy. Last touch, pag last touch syndrome, nako, bahala kayo. Okay? So, very important yung fundoscopy. For the nerves, of course, you know the trigeminal nerve. We studied that sa cranial nerve. You have the ophthalmic, the maxillary, and the mandibular division. Of course, for the eye, you have the ophthalmic division, which is the major sensory input of the eyelids in the orbit. Little from the maxillary division, which contributes to the component of the lower lid. So the ophthalmic nerve class, you have the frontal, the nasociliary, and the lacrimal nerve. So tingnan nyo na lang yan, ha? So yung frontal nerve, the supraorbital, supratrochlear, this one is important. The nasociliary nerve, which gives branches for the ciliary ganglion, the short ciliary, and the long ciliary nerve. And of course, the lacrimal nerve, which supplies the lacrimal gland. Oculomotor nerve, you know that is the one that innervates the recti, the extraocular muscles, except for the superior, oblique, and the lateral rectus. We also have the parasympathetic component, which is the Edinger-Westphal for the pupillary constriction. Okay? And the trochlear nerve, yan. Sabi na natin, as well as the abducent nerve. Just a little reminder, class, for the trochlear nerve, as we've studied during the brainstem, when it exits the brainstem, class, diba, it innervates the contralateral muscle, the superior oblique muscle. Kasi nag-cross siya doon pag nag-exit na siya sa ating midbrain. Okay? Okay. So, this is oculomotor nerve paralysis. So, of course, if you have oculomotor nerve paralysis, weak yung superior rectus, yung middle rectus, and yung inferior rectus. Kasi ito yung sinusuplayan ng oculomotor nerve natin. So, what will happen to the patient? Okay, so of course, malakas yung lateral rectus muscle niya. So, it will move the eye laterally. Okay? And it will depress the eyes. Okay? So, yan ang itsura ng oculomotor nerve paralysis. Okay. For the ciliary ganglion, it is usually located from the nasociliary nerve. Okay? From the nasociliary nerve, we have here the ciliary ganglion, which is approximately located 1 centimeters in front of the annulus of Zinn. So, you have 3 roots of the ciliary ganglion, the sensory, the sympathetic, and the parasympathetic. Of course, the sympathetic root, that is the one that innervates the dilator muscles. If you still remember the function of yung sympathetic natin, fight or flight. Okay? So, di ba pag feel nyo in danger kayo, what happens? Di ba dilate yung pupils nyo. So, the sympathetic root supplies the dilator muscles. The sensory root, of course, contains sensory fibers from the cornea, iris, and the ciliary body. And the short motor root is also parasympathetic before the sphincter of the eye. Okay, for the constriction. And you have here a lesion of the sympathetic root, and we call this the Horner syndrome. And you have meiosis, anhidrosis, and ptosis. Okay. Okay, this is the ophthalmic artery, and as I've said, one of its branches is the central retinal artery, which pierces the optic nerve. Kaya you will see the central retinal artery when you do fundoscopy. So other branches of the ophthalmic artery are the long and short posterior ciliary arteries, the lacrimal arteries, and the muscular branches. Okay? Just for the venous drainage, yan. So, ito. Okay. So for the um, lymphatics, okay, lymphatic system. You have here, so kaya ko lang ito i-discuss kasi important din to sa clinic. So when the patient comes to you with orbital cellulitis, namamaga yung mata, or even severe conjunctiva, usually you also palpate the preauricular and the submandibular nodes because dyan nagde-drain yung majority for the preauricular nodes. It drains the majority of the upper lid, the lateral two-thirds, and some part, one-third of the lateral lower lid. Okay, so nagkakaroon ng swelling dyan. And for the submandibular nodes, it drains majority of the lower lid, the middle part of the lower lid, and just some part of the upper lid. Okay, so when there is a swelling of the preauricular or the submandibular nodes, we also usually give oral antibiotic. Hindi enough yung ating pamatak lang, yung ating mga topical antibiotics because there's a sign of kumakalat na siya. Okay, so we give oral antibiotics as well. For the last part, yay, the coats of the eyeball, we have three parts, the fibrous, the vascular, which is the middle layer, and the retina. For the fibrous layer, of course, you have the sclera and the cornea. The sclera crest, that is the white of the eye. Okay, you have two openings of the sclera posteriorly, that is where again the optic nerve pierces. This is known as the lamina cribrosa, that area. And anteriorly, kung saan kumakabit yung ating cornea. Okay, that is the transparent part of the eye. And we call this the corneoscleral limbus. Okay, so two openings of the sclera. The sclera crest is very tough. It is made up of dense connective tissue and it is covered by the Tenon's capsule. Kanina we discussed the Tenon's capsules, di ba? So again, those are the openings of the sclera. Just take note of the blood supply. While the cornea, that is the anterior transparent 1/6 of the globe, again, it is attached to the sclera by the corneoscleral limbus. Okay, so the cornea class, take note, that is the main refracting surface of the eye. So if you have problems with the curvature of the cornea, it may lead to astigmatism. Okay, so yan yung astigmatism. Hindi pantay-pantay yung pasok ng ilaw sa loob ng mata. Okay, for the middle layer, you have the choroid, the ciliary body, and the iris. Okay, the choroid, that is the one sandwiched or located between the retina and the sclera. That is a highly vascular layer of the eye. While the ciliary body class, the ciliary body, you have here the uveal portion and the epithelial portion which produces the aqueous humor. So ito class, the ciliary body, you have here the ciliary ring, the ciliary process, and the muscles, okay? So here, look. So the ciliary body class, you have here the suspensory ligament which attaches to the lid. So when you accommodate, when you look far, when you look near, so nagko-contract yung ating ciliary muscles. Kaya nag-iiba yung shape ng lens. Kaya we'll be able to see at near, we'll be able to see at far. We call that accommodation, which you will take up in physiology of vision. Okay, sa physiology na yun. Okay, so the iris, that is the colored part of the eye. Okay, yan yung colored part ng eye natin. Sa atin, brown yan. So you have here the iris, and the space sa gitna, that is only a space that is the pupil. Okay, so the iris separates the anterior from the posterior chamber of the eye. Okay, so you have here muscles of the iris near the end of the iris. You have here the sphincter pupillae, and near the margin of the iris, you have here the dilator pupillae, which causes dilatation of the pupil. Okay, for the inner layer, you have, of course, the retina. Okay, you have several layers, 10 layers of the retina. What is important when grossly when you examine the retina are these structures. Okay, so at the center you have plus the macula lutea, the fovea centralis for vision. For the most acute vision, of course, you have here the optic nerve with the central retinal artery. Okay, the ora serrata test, that is the end of the retina. You won't be able to see the ora serrata. Okay, because that is the boundary between the retina and the ciliary body. Okay, so if we will introduce any kind of medicine sa loob ng mata, yan ang hinihit natin, yung ora, before the ora serrata, that area, kasi wala na siyang retina. Okay, so usually that is around 8 millimeters from the corneal limbus. So, yung mga intravitreal injection, yung mga gamot, dyan yan pinapadaan because you won't be able to hit the retina. Because again, the ora serrata, that is the boundary between the retina and the ciliary body. Okay, so the aqueous humor, that is the fluid of the eye. Okay, so it is produced here at the ciliary body. Diba? The ciliary body, that is the one that produces the aqueous humor, which is the fluid of the eye. So the aqueous humor passes through the posterior chamber, which is between the iris and the lens, goes through the pupil and the anterior chamber between the iris and the cornea. And this aqueous humor class should drain here at the canal of Schlemm. Pag yan barado, pag makipot yung angle, we call that glaucoma. Okay, hindi nakaka-drain yung fluid sa eye natin. Of course, saan siya pupunta? Wala siyang pupuntahan. Kaya tataas yung pressure sa loob ng mata. You will have increased intraocular pressure, and what happens? It will impinge yung optic nerve natin. Okay? Now, other contents of the eyeball, you have here this transparent, gelatinous, colorless fluid. That is the vitreous humor and the lens. Any opacity of the lens class, that is called cataract. Yan yung nagkakaroon ng cataract. Yan yung tinatanggal natin when we do cataract surgery and replace it with implant, intraocular lens. So again, any opacity of the lens is known as cataract. For the refractive errors, of course, the normal eye, the light should fall just right at the retina. Dapat dyan lang magpo-fall ang ating ilaw, yung ating nakikita just at the retina. Sakto sa retina. But if you are myopic, nearsighted, usually you have an elongated eyeball. Okay? Elongated eyeball. Kaya the light falls in front of the retina. So you have to correct it with a concave lens. While if you are hypermetropia, farsighted, usually the eye is smaller. Okay, mas maliit yung eye niya. Kaya the light falls behind the retina or after the retina. So you have to correct this with convex lenses. Okay? So very, very sorry. We ran out of time. Ang dami ko pang gusto sanang i-share sa inyo regarding the orbit. Pero yun nga, we only have 1 hour. Do you have any questions, class? You can message me na lang because you have another class with Dr. Melanie Cruz. Nakakahiya. Extended na tayo na